Good morning to you. You know, we thought that we'd kick off the show on a positive note here because it might be difficult to find the silver lining during these challenging times, but it is possible. So, here to help us see the positivity during this pandemic is spiritual counselor Cindy Summers. Cindy, so good to see you. Oh, now, do we have her audio or is it just in my ear? Do we have her? Are we hearing her okay? I'm just making sure because I can't hear you, so I'm going to let you speak again.
Good morning, Natalie.
Oh, there, I hear you now. Now, there we go.
Good.
See, look at her. She does it with a smiling face no matter what. It is so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
I think this is a very important topic to bring up because we can't help ourselves sometimes but get in funks when we're going through something like this. This is unlike anything we've ever been through in our lifetime. But have you found through your work that you've seen positivity at all through this process?
You know, I have. And so what has happened, Natalie, even though we've seen a lot of things that have been disappointing and upsetting, and by no means dismissing those things, positive can come from this experience because unless we're challenged as humans, we tend to get complacent. And where there's complacency, there's no growth. So when something like a pandemic, especially something we've never seen like this before, we have to take a step back and ask ourselves, what can I do with this? Is the glass going to be half empty for me, or is it going to be half full?
I love the idea of that. And, I think that as you alluded to and are mentioning, change. Change can be a very scary thing. It's a scary word at times.
It is. It is. So some of the things that I'm seeing is opportunity for people. And as you know, there's a lot of folks that are laid off, that have lost their jobs. You know, the travel industry, the hospitality industry, you name it. So many people have been affected. Even relationships have been affected. So then we have to step back and say, all right, now you may have opportunities that we've never had before. And so then there's these things that everybody's intuitive, I think. Okay. And you know the little voice inside your head that
Sure.
says,
Hear it all the time.
I ought to do this. I should do that. Sometimes it's language like, wouldn't it be funny if, I started writing a book, if I started a business of my own, if I decided to move, these are the things that come up and have been brewing inside everybody's mind. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. So what you're saying is it's great to, once you're thinking about it, why not go for it? I mean, how do you know you're ready for change, ready for that challenge?
Exactly. So this presents that opportunity. So like I said, if we were complacent, we would never make the changes. So we have to become uncomfortable. So when there's a job loss, let's just say, or maybe the hours have been cut tremendously, we can sit and stew about it, sure, or we can take the bull by the horns and say, what is that business I've always been saying I ought to do? What if I should do what I'm doing now and maybe work for myself? What if, and I'm trying to think other examples. What if I'm supposed to move in a geography, a move for geography, right? A different state, a different city. And what if that was scary at one time? And now it's like, well, you know what? Now I have the time. Now I have the time. What am I going to do with the time? And so that's the paradigm. That's the paradigm. It's a new paradigm. What are you going to do with that? Are you going to sit and complain? And I don't mean you, Natalie. I mean you, me, all of us. Or are we going to actually do something about it?
Would you say that the hardest part is just forcing yourself to take the risk of doing it? And I feel like once you do it, then it's, I mean, I feel like you're always going to grow no matter what. Even if you take a risk and you realize, okay, maybe this isn't for me, you still have found some growth in doing so.
Exactly. And is there really such thing as failure? Is that really a thing? We talk about that. It's like, well, no, that just simply didn't work, but I tried. And what if it doesn't work? And maybe it's tweaking it. And so risk is scary to us because we like status quo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is not a status quo time.
Nope.
So now we need to reevaluate our lives and say, what can I do better? I now have the time. I now have the opportunities, and it doesn't have to be a lot of money. It can be, what if somebody creates a business plan for themselves and says, well, let me iron out these yeah, these ideas. Let me
Sure.
iron them out. What does it look like?
Well, I think this is absolutely wonderful. I hope that, Cindy, this morning has inspired you. I know you've inspired me. I mean, that change, that this is the perfect time for us to maybe go out on a limb and do something we would never do normally or be afraid to do before. So, Cindy, I thank you. Great positive attitude to start our morning this morning. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, Natalie. Thanks for having
You
me.
have a great day today.
You too.
All right, David?